football. For the city and the back roads, got a whole county full of them goats. All from the football and them goats. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them. Yeah, and kinda I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football. This for the football.
All right, everybody. Hello and welcome. I cannot believe we are here. It is week 11 as we get ready for playoff football right here in the county. But before we could get into the playoffs, we had some unfinished business. It was week 10 last week, and boy, there were some tight games, but not too many around here. A lot of blowouts, a lot of teams getting ready for that week 11 and putting a big stamp on the end of the year, and one of the teams that did that is going to be responsible for our player of the week this week. The Edgewood Warriors go out there and QKRS 1. The bridge is over. They go out in an absolutely dominant win against their rival, the Lakeside Dragons, and it was in large part to this guy right here, J.J. Dufour. It was a battle of double J's, and this man right here reigned supreme on that night. Those numbers, 12 for 14, 314 yards, 6 Tud Rockets out there on the home front, and 11 carries for 39, just to put a little salt and pepper on the action. Ladies and gentlemen, our Week 10 Player of the Week, it's J.J. Dufour.
Thank you. It's an honor, Sammy.
You're welcome, man, and welcome to the show. Tell you what, it's been a long time coming. You know, you've had some real stat stuffer sheets or games this year, but, you know, I was joking with you before. You know, you get a little bit of that LeBron rule.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be the right game, the right time for you to get on this show, and I knew you'd end up here. And no bigger game than the battle for the bridge. And, you know, this is a trophy that has changed hands back and forth over years. And, you know, you being a Buckeye by blood, you've gotten to watch this over and over. What was it like before we get in, you know, to the game part, but what was it like for you heading into the last week?
Just heading in, you know, we had the playoffs in our sights, but we knew we had to handle business going into week 10 because we knew, you know, rivalry games, especially around here, they're always taken seriously. It doesn't matter the records. It doesn't matter who they got, who we got injured, who they got injured. It just matters how you play on that Friday night.
Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting you say that because the records really do not matter. There has been years where, you know, Lakeside's been down. They've been able to get wins. There's been years where Edgewood was down and was able to spoil the end of the year for Lakeside. So, I mean, what was the mindset, you know, at practice for the other guys? You know what I mean? Because I know Coach Cooper tends to get a little fired up. I don't think people have seen it, but I know that guy personally, and I'm sure he was real fired up last week.
Oh, yeah, it was straight business. You know, Coach Cooper, he's from Lakeside too, so
yeah,
like it's personal for him there. Coach Henton, he was our offensive coordinator for a while there, and you know it was just personal.
Yeah, what was that like for you as a guy who got to play with both guys who were calling the game on that Friday night?
You know, it was just like how can I say it? It was fun.
Yeah,
you know? It was fun because you know I got Coach Cooper all this time, Coach Henton. You know, both of those guys, at least from my perspective, loved me from when they were coaching me. And, you know, it's just fun to go out there and compete.
Yeah, and, you know, you talk about this year, which has been phenomenal. I mean, there's no other way to put it, you know. You know, you come in last year about halfway through, starting the last 5 games as the quarterback. So this year, heading into this junior year, you knew that you were going to be QB1. What were some of the things you were trying to get done and locking in to do heading into this season?
I was just trying to make sure, you know, I had connection with all my guys up front, in the backfield, at a receiver, because that was, in my opinion, the most important thing was to make sure I'm on the same page with everyone on the offense and making sure that, they know I mean business, so they got to mean business.
I mean, can we talk about the hog mollies up front that you got up there? I mean, you've got 4-year Letterman, 3-year Letterman. I mean, how nice is that as a quarterback, knowing that you've got some real horses ahead of you, and Mason and Brock and Christian, and I know I'm forgetting guys, but it seems like it's been the same offensive line for like 3 years.
Yeah, it was nice, and it's fun as a quarterback when you really don't have to do anything. Like, I know against Jefferson, Javen had 197 yards, and I just kind of sat back there, handed him the ball. It was an easy night. Let me tell you.
Yeah, you talk about, and it's kind of the multifaceted attack that you guys get to offer this year. A lot of people, I think, looked at you, JJ, and anybody who's watched, Buckeye youth football, Buckeye middle school football, they knew who JJ Dufour was, that's for sure. But you've played everywhere from running back to wide receiver to quarterback. Coming into this year, did you feel like there was something you had to prove with your arm because guys thought you were just a running guy?
Yeah, a little bit partially. I knew I performed pretty well last year at quarterback, but I really thought that people just didn't understand how good my arm was and how I can really perform in the pass game and in the run game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's that dual threat that makes you so incredibly dangerous. But, you've got a pretty good wide receiving core out there. 3 options of guys who can make big plays in very different ways.
Yeah, Josiah, who won this in week 1, and then you got Devin, Riley, who can take it off of anyone. Czar's out there. You got Tanner. We really just have athletes, and it's really easy for me to just get them the ball and let them do their work. Yeah,
I mean, Edgewood always seems to have a guy that's really tall and can take the ball out of the air. Jacob Ernst before that, and then here comes the Slim Reaper to take over that role. I mean, that's got to feel nice especially when you're inside the 10, you can just throw a jump off.
Yeah.
So, talk a little bit, Josiah Pope, who we've talked a lot about on this show, and obviously winning week 1 player of the week, going down, and getting a huge win against a very good Garrettsville team. But, you guys had a guy that I think made a name for himself this year in Devin Sanchez.
Yeah, Devin, he's a little bit on the smaller side, but he's really feisty. He's really quick. He's probably the second fastest kid behind Josiah on our team. And if you just get the ball and he gets an ounce of space, a lick of space, he could go to the house at any given moment.
Yeah, I mean, again, another one of those tools that as a quarterback, you just got to complete it.
Yeah.
So, coming into this year, you get that your full-time starter, you've got this big offensive line, and then things, you went up and down. You get a big win against Garrettsville to start the year. You guys head down to Canton and send New Jersey packing. But, some of these games that you would want back, what are some of the things you tried to improve on from some of the games that didn't go your way?
We just tried to improve on, just taking what everyone gives us because, against Girard, who's 10-0 right now, I feel like we had him in the first quarter. We started with a touchdown, then we had a fumble. We just didn't capitalize on some of those things. And then it's just finishing games. Because, we were in a game with Geneva. We were down 7 going into the fourth quarter. Didn't really finish that one. We were up on Madison going into the fourth quarter. Didn't finish that one. And it was just those games heading into these last 3 games that really made us want to fight and make sure we finish these games.
Was there a moment over these last couple weeks or even throughout the season where you feel like it clicked? Not just for you, but for the team?
Well, I think really going into that Conneaut game, it really clicked. We've scored over 40 points in all those games, 7 touchdowns in all those games. And, the offense, the passing game's clicking, the running game's clicking, the defense is clicking. And it's just everything's coming together into the playoffs.
So, as QB1, a lot of times they like to take you off of that defensive side of the ball. But I know you like playing that defensive side of the ball. What are those conversations like with Coach?
At the beginning of the year, Coop didn't really want me to play any defense. And, Coach Louth being our first-year defensive coordinator, he was watching film from last year. He was seeing me make some plays. I know over the summer he wanted me to play a little defense. Coop wouldn't let him. And then I think it was Geneva, or no, it was the Madison week where, they got Will, they got some really good weapons outside, and they wanted me to be in there for the pass game. And I really, I started playing more defense then. And I've played a little bit of defense here and there, but I think I might have to play a little more defense this Norton game. But
well, I'll tell you one thing Cooper's going to do is protect his quarterback. He's a quarterback by trade, so he's gonna make sure you guys are right. But we've talked about some of the seniors and some of the upperclassmen this year that have made a big difference. But there's a nice youth movement in this Warriors team. Some younger guys making bigger plays. But not just here in the high school level, down at the middle school and the youth level. How much kind of outreach or presence do you have with those guys?
Yeah, Coach Baldwin at the middle school, he was my coach in middle school. He was my coach in the youth leagues, and I always try and go down there, show my face, help out a little bit. The middle school's got a really good quarterback, Cooper Coppola, who will take over my role once I graduate. But yeah, and then in the BCMFL or YFL or whatever they're calling it
the
now.
youth league.
The youth league. I try to show my face down there. Me and my dad go down there, help out a little bit, show our faces, and make sure the kids are doing stuff right.
And you're one of the guys that I've actually gotten to see from that age group. By the time you were in BCMFL and making your way through Braden and obviously now with Edgewood, what did it mean for you when you were that young, seeing the older guys play this game? Were those guys you looked up to?
Yeah, those are some of my guys that, and my mom's a teacher too. So I knew all those guys from in school and from on the football sidelines, and I would go and I would help them. And then it was really my 6th grade year, that COVID year, when everyone made the playoffs, and Edgewood played CVCA in the playoffs, and it really opened my eyes. We could really do something here, because we were tied with CVCA in the playoffs, and we were 2-8 that year. So I feel like we could really do anything.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons why I asked you. When do you feel like it clicked? It's not just this season, but in general. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes when it clicks, and when you start to believe in yourself and what this team can do, these are the results you're going to get. And as a quarterback, I know you're a junior, obviously, but taking on a leadership quality and taking on a leadership role, you also have a role in leadership outside of football. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm a camp counselor at Camp Whitewood, and it's an Ashtabula camp, so I see all the people from around the county. Some of my friends now are Dominic Palmisano from Geneva, who's a great defensive end for over there. But it's just leading on the field and leading outside and leading a bunch of kids is pretty much the same thing. You just got to make sure they believe in you and just make sure everyone's doing their job and doing everything right.
Yeah, and I think that's a big deal. You know what I mean? There's leadership on the field, but the leadership off the field is truly where you're going to make your mark. So I think that's pretty awesome that, imagine that, a quarterback as a counselor. Who could ask for better than that? And this guy right here, he's been making it happen. So it's been a good season. There's been ups and downs, more ups than downs. But you guys are heading to the home of the furniture maker. If you can't get credit there, you can't get credit anywhere. What's getting ready to happen this week as you guys prepare for Norton?
It's just the belief system, I think, is the biggest thing, because once you're in the playoffs, everyone's 0-0. The records don't matter anymore. So it's really just the belief system, because Edgewood's never won a playoff game. So it's really just the belief system over here at Edgewood that we think we can really win this, and we think we can go deep in the playoffs. So,
you play a lot of other sports. You're a beast on the basketball court. You've been known to run a little bit on the track side. Playing basketball and running track, how do you think those two sports have helped you in particular with football?
I think basketball, mainly it's just the competitiveness. Because sometimes it's an ISO, it's you and the other dude. So it's really the competitiveness helps me there. And for track, it's just my speed and endurance. I was a 4x4 and 4x8 runner. So I got to run a lot there. So it's just helping my endurance staying healthy for football.
4x8, as far as I'm concerned, is the hardest race in all of sports. Not only do you have to run 1 lap, you have to run 2 laps. And when I played football, that's how my coaches kept me in line, because I didn't want to run laps to begin with. So it's amazing that you're able to do that. But, one of the things, I didn't necessarily prepare you in the pregame on this, but, are there any guys in either college or the NFL that you kind of look up to or you kind of emulate your game after?
I think one person that I try to emulate my game after is Justin Fields, and how he's a dual threat quarterback and how he can really do anything. Maybe not in the NFL because he hasn't had the greatest success, but definitely in college with him running around all the place and throwing the ball at will.
Yeah, I'm sure The athletic director, Steve Crayo, loved that. That's Ohio State's Justin Fields is who he he likes to emulate. That's a great comparison when you talk about a guy who can get it done with the arm versus his legs as well. So, what are some things that are something you would tell to one of the youth guys, whether he's in middle school or in the BCM? The YFL, the YFL. What is something you would tell to one of those guys who say, "Hey, I want to be like JJ"?
I think I would just tell them, just keep striding, and you just got to keep working because nothing's handed to you. Nothing's handed to you. You got to keep working at it, and if you want something to happen, you got to take it.
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing you've done this year, JJ, is take it. And you've done it week after week after week. It's been impressive to watch you go. I mean, 6 touchdowns last week. You've had a game with 5 touchdowns. You've had a game with 4 touchdowns. Every week you seem to make it happen. I'm really, really excited to see how this story is going to end up. You guys get to play a big-time road game. The road game, too. But, you guys aren't afraid of that. You guys drove all the way down to Canton and sent the New Jersey guys back to the meat packing plant. So, I've got all the pride in you guys in the world. So it's going to be an awesome, awesome week. But, let's bring up this stat. It's like these are Madden numbers, my friend. 12 for 14, 314 yards, 6 touchdowns, 11 carries, 39 yards, a partridge, and a pear tree. JJ Dufour is going to be our Week 10 Player of the Week. Thanks so much for coming on the show, my friend.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Zell Bush.
Hi, this is Tom Clint. Hi, this is Steve Rossetto.
Hi, this is Ryan Miller.
Hi, this is Rich Sakui from WRS Wealth Advisors.
With our combined 80 years of experience,
WRS Wealth Advisors are the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services.
Or visit WRSwealth.com.
go Raiders,
Go Dogs!
Go Cats.
Go Dogs!
Go Tigers.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
Oh, let's fix it, as I have to do every time we come back. Week 10 is no different than any other week, but it's hard to believe that we are through the regular season here in Ashtabula County football, and one of the points of pride that I've got for this year is the fact that 50% of our teams are going to be playing here in Week 11, and that's after the playoff gets chopped down from 16 to 12. Now, unfortunately, this year we don't have anybody who's going to qualify for that bye, but if you're really interested in how this thing has all shook out, make sure you head over to joeidle.com, and you're going to be able to see where the points come. And this is where not only does it matter if you win, but it matters who you beat. Some of the reasons that some of our teams in this area are a little bit lower seed is because some of the teams that they have beat are either winless or 1-9, and it really kind of messes up the points there. So much so that, one team in particular that I know we sat down and refreshing until 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday night, and that's the St. John Heralds, who had their hopes based on a win from the Beechwood Bison over Van Loo. Beechwood, who has not won a game in 3 years, comes through with the win and gives St. John the kick to get over the hill and make this playoff, and that's with a 5-5 record. So this 12-team playoff has really made it very, very competitive, and everybody who has made it absolutely deserves to be there. Now let's talk about the Week 10 results and how we ended up where we are right now. So for the Battle of the Bridge, we'll start it off. It was 50-6. The Edgewood Warriors came out with their hair on fire. It was right from the opening gate. I mean, obviously, J.J. Dufour with 6 touchdowns. Josiah Pope had 3. D'Angelo Sanchez, I believe, had 2. Riley Baldwin with an interception in this one. It was a big night for the Edgewood Warriors. And one of the other things that I think that they took personally was the fact that Lakeside's quarterback, J.J. Murphy, comes into this game 191 yards off of the county record. And if you're wondering, where does that county record sit right now? That's over across the bridge in the halls of Edgewood with their record-breaking quarterback, Tony Hall. So there was a lot of things in play for this one. Now, Edgewood taking the trophy right back. This is one of those awesome rivalries that you love to watch. Over on the Lakeside side of things, they lined the bridge as the Lakeside buses were crossing the bridge to head over into this big-time game. And those are, that's one of my favorite things about rivalries and about high school football. It's the community involvement. The records don't matter. You had one team that had to win to get in, and you had another team that they wanted to win strictly for the bragging rights. This year, the Edgewood Warriors, they get it done, and they get it done in a big way. 50-6 is the final, and the Edgewood Warriors are now preparing for Week 11 football. From one rivalry game, we move to another. The Pymatuning Valley Lakers taking on the Grand Valley Mustangs. Pymatuning Valley hosts the Grand Valley Mustangs, and this is a game that was never in doubt. 38-0 was the final on this one. This is the Battle of the Valley, Ashtabula County version. And in this one, it's Justin Britton making it happen, Kaysen Bailey making it happen. You talk about guys like Sean Croston, who made a big difference in this game. But the Pymatuning Valley Lakers, they end the season 7-3. And to me, what the most interesting part of this Pymatuning Valley Lakers going 7-3, this is a team that I think a lot of people had questions about coming into this year. I mean, when you lose 2 guys like Ty Vickery and Ryan Croston, who made up, I would say, probably 95% of the offense last year and were effective, everybody was wondering, are the PV Lakers going to be in a reload or are they going to be in a rebuild? And I think after 10 weeks of football, you can absolutely say that this Pymatuning Valley team reloaded. They go out there 7 wins, 3 losses, but 7 wins in a way that you would not have expected. Justin Britton goes out there and is throwing the ball all over the yard. Their passing game has been absolutely phenomenal, so much so that Justin Britton is the highest rated quarterback in the county when you talk about pure quarterback efficiency. It has been something to be watched. Now, as for the Grand Valley Mustangs, it's been a tale of 2 seasons for them. There was a lot of hope going in for this team going in this year, and unfortunately some things didn't shake out the way they wanted to, so they're going to end the year 5-5. Still some very, very talented football players out there. You talk about the senior J. Anthony Williams, who is calling it a career here for his high school, and I'm sure we will be seeing playing on Saturdays very, very soon. But one of the things Grand Valley has got going for them is youth. This is a program that is building. They've got some young guys that made big-time advances this year, and including Luca Raymore, Mason Demshar. These are guys that have made a name for themselves over the past 3 to 4 weeks. And, there's definitely some building blocks there for the Grand Valley Mustangs. Conneaut is going to fall to the Blue Streaks 7-43. They will end their season with a final record of 4-3. The Madison Blue Streaks are going to go 7-3. They're heading to the playoffs. This is a Madison Blue Streaks team, very, very talented. I don't think that anybody questioned that. But I was really interested to see how this game was going to go. You're looking at a Colby Stiltner in Conneaut, who is coming off of his best game of the season. Going out there riding that high wave into this one. And unfortunately, the Madison defense, just too much for this Conneaut offense on this week. And Conneaut will end their season, like I said, 4-6. The Geneva Eagles are going to end their season with an 8-2 record after a 56-0 win over the Jefferson Falcons. Geneva is going to be the CVC Lake Division champion for the third year in a row. This year, it's only the Eagles. There is no tie there. It is all about Geneva. You want to talk about a record-breaking team. This Geneva Eagles team, Bryce Peet breaking the single-season rushing record, the career rushing record, points in a season record, solo tackles in a season record, all for his school. Caden Proy breaks the all-time single-season touchdown record for this Geneva Eagles team. And just when you're paying attention to Proy and Bryce Peet, don't forget they've got guys like Ricky DePetta and Owen Davis right behind them that can easily score. Each of those guys running for over 400 yards apiece. This is a team, I've called them this all year long. The Geneva Eagles are the big red machine, and they go out there just like Kane, and it's explosive when they're on the field. The St. John Heralds end their season with a absolute exclamation point, the regular season. A 48-0 beating of the Cardinal Huskies. One of the special things about this one is St. John moves to 5-5. They are going to the playoffs. So they get into the playoffs. They're going to be playing here in Week 11. Chase Newsome becomes a 1,000-yard rusher for the Heralds. The last time the Heralds had a 1,000-yard rusher, 2004, Van Robinson. And before him, 1991, Matt Peet, who just so happens to be the offensive coordinator over there at the Geneva Eagles, one of the best rushing games in the county. So a lot of great things going on for this St. John Heralds team. Chase Newsome has been phenomenal. I mean, this junior running back, 1,000-yard guy. And I mean, they had everything going in their direction on Friday night. One of the special moments, I got a chance to call this game. Senior Donnie Crawford, who has gotten so close to getting into the end zone. They've got a play where he's able to catch the ball, but he's been tackled on the 1-yard line a couple times. He scores once, it gets called back. Everybody thought that was going to be it. He answers again and gets his touchdown. Had a chance to do a media day for this school not too long ago, and when I asked Donnie, I said, what are some of the things you want to get done? He looked at me and he said, Sam, I want to score some touchdowns. Well, guess what, buddy? You got a chance to do it on Friday night, and you're going to have another chance coming up this week in Week 11. So those are the Week 10 games, and that brings up Week 11. And when you talk about Week 11,
playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about playoffs here in Week 11. Now, every county team that's in the playoffs this week is going to be heading on the road. Right now, I can tell you that I am almost 100% positive that all 4 of these games are going to be on ysnlive.com, as we've got different announcers heading to different parts of the state this week. So we'll start it off with the team of the hour. It's the Edgewood Warriors, who are going to end with a 6-4 record and end up as the 12 seed. And they're going to be taking on the number 5, 9-1 Norton Barbarians, I think is what they are. They are only 9-1 because they lose one game due to forfeit. Now, this was a highly controversial ruling by the OHSAA in Week 9, where they changed all games that were canceled to forfeits. And why does that matter, you ask? Because a canceled game allots no loss and also allots no points. With them changing that ruling over, now a forfeit, Norton goes from 9-0 and potentially hosting a playoff game to 9-1 in that 5 seed. And they're going to have to play a very, very hungry and a very ready Edgewood Warriors football team. This is a Warriors football team with one of the most veteran lines in the area. I mean, they've got more letters up front than most teams do on their entire team. They've got a quarterback in J.J. Dufour who has been absolutely on fire. You've got a guy in Riley Baldwin who's taking the ball out of the air, creating more possessions for the offense. Devin Sanchez, who has had a coming out year this year for this Edgewood Warriors team, and the ever so dangerous Josiah Pope. So Edgewood is going to be on the road on Friday taking on Norton. This is going to be a big one. You're not going to want to miss it. It should be right here on ysnlive.com. Now, what I can tell you is I will have a post out there to let you know exactly which games are going to be covered by who this week. So make sure you're paying attention to your home for high school sports, ysnlive.com. And then the Pymatuning Valley Lakers at 7-3 get in at a 12 seed. That lets you know how tight these playoff races truly are. So getting in at a 12 seed, they're going to play the 5 seed. And the 5 seed, the reason why these 12s are playing the 5 is because the top 4 seeds in each region get a bye. So the top 4 teams are getting a week off, and they get to prepare for the winners of these 12-5 matchups. Pymatuning Valley going out there. This is one I'm really, really interested in because could weather play a part in this game? You know, this is a Pymatuning Valley team that likes to pass the ball. They're going to want dry conditions. Now, they are used to playing on natural grass, so there's nothing you could take away from this PV team. I can promise you that. Jace Folkman, Sean Croston, Justin Britton, Kaysen Bailey. They've got guys who can make plays, and they're going to have to do it. Nobody has been to the playoffs more often or longer than the Pymatuning Valley Lakers. It's a way of life out there. You want to talk about a certified program that starts, it's right there in PV. They get the job done each and every year. I mean, winning their conference in the NAC for 6 years straight. This is the first year that they didn't win the conference, and it only took a 10-0 Fairport to knock them off of this pedestal. The number 10 Geneva Eagles, who are 8-2, will be heading down to play Alliance, who is also 8-2. Guys, I love this matchup. I love this matchup for Geneva. I think this is a team that Geneva is going to match up very, very well. Geneva is a rough, tough, tumble type of team. They're going to be able to control the clock, and that's what they're going to try to do against Alliance when they head down to their house. Geneva is another team, when you talk about a program, down to the youth league, through the junior high, they've got a freshman team. It's a way of life. If you're playing Eagle football, there's only one way to go. And they make sure it happens, and that's why they're successful each and every single year. And the Geneva Eagles have gone a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper and gotten more and more equipped in this playoffs in what is arguably the most difficult region in all of Ohio. Division III, Region 9 is a nightmare. It is a nightmare when you talk about pure talent right here in Northeast Ohio. And Geneva has never duck the smoke from anybody. They're ready, and I can't wait to see how these Eagles are going to go out and take on Alliance. And then the St. John Heralds, 5-5 this year, number 12 seed in their region. They're going to be taking on the Malvern Hornets, who are 6-4. This game is two teams that run very similar types of offense. This game could come down to the defense that is going to step up and make the plays. And I'm going to be honest with you. This is a St. John defense that I think is very underrated. It has been underrated all year long. They've got a front four on that defensive side that can make plays happen. They keep running backs in the backfield, and they make sure quarterbacks are uncomfortable. This is a St. John team. They got to play mistake-free football. And that doesn't just go for St. John. That goes for everybody who's playing here in Week 11. If you plan on playing for Week 12, you can't leave anything on the field, and you got to make sure you're playing the best brand of football that you possibly can play. This game will be on YSN Live. I've got the honor and the duty to cover this one. I'll be heading all the way down to Malvern to cover this one. It's going to be an absolute blast. Make sure you guys tune into YSN Live. I will have all of the links and who is covering the games by Thursday this week. So we'll take that off the screen. Let's go through some of our comments here. We got Heidi Nelling saying congratulations, and that's to J.J. Murphy. Mark D. Demonic. Norton, the Panthers. They are the Norton Panthers. Go Lakers. Big trip ahead is CK2 Summers and Norton Panthers. Thank you again, Mark D. Demonic. It had escaped me. I don't know why I was thinking Bombers. That's the one that stuck in my head. But, yeah, so Edgewood, it doesn't matter. Like the meme says, Panthers, Bears, Tigers, don't matter. Warriors by 4. I'm taking the Edgewood Warriors in this one. So now we're going to get to my favorite and most controversial part of the show. It is the stats portion. Keep in mind, our tackles are, the formula might not be the same as yours. But for the regular season, let's see who the kings of Ashtabula are. All right, everybody, we are going to start this week as we always do, and that is with the passers. So leading the leaderboards this week is going to be Lakeside's J.J. Murphy, just a sophomore in this Dragon program and only his first year playing quarterback. He was a lineman last year. This year, he is Ashtabula County's top passer with 2,460 yards passing. 27 touchdowns for J.J. Murphy, and those asterisks are because those are school records. And one of the interesting things is Murphy gets very, very close to the county record here in this year and just misses it. But Murphy is only about 120 yards away from the Lakeside career record. I mean, what a way to come out as a sophomore. Big things coming for this Lakeside football team. You know, it's a rebuild. They're a team that's very, very young. You know, talking about the seniors that primarily played on the defensive side of the ball. Next year, they're bringing most of their offense back. I'm very, very interested to see how this Lakeside team is going to grow over the course of a year. Right behind J.J. Murphy is J.J. Dufour. 2,103 yards, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. What a year for Dufour, who gets his first full year as the Edgewood Warriors starting quarterback, and boy, did he make it count. I mean, leading this team into this record. That's why they're heading to the playoffs. They've got guys like J.J. Dufour and Sanchez and the linemen, and all these guys making it happen. Big-time players making big-time plays. J.J. Dufour, number 2. Justin Britton over at Pymatuning Valley, just like I was saying, 1,824 yards, 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. It has been an incredible run for the Pymatuning Valley Lakers. I don't know that they had 1,800 yards passing in 3 years combined coming into this year. But they come out this year, they change it, they move the playbook around, and Britton has made it happen. Conneaut's Colby Stiltner goes 1,663 yards passing. He's got 7 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. Mason Khalil for Jefferson is going to end the year with 805 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns. Nate Stewart for Grand Valley, he will end the year with 558, 6 touchdowns. Carter Turk, who will take over as quarterback duties for Grand Valley, ends the year with 490 with 5 touchdowns. Anthony Benedict, first-year quarterback for the St. John Heralds. He's going to end the year with 474 yards, 6 touchdowns. And Geneva's Caden Proy will end the year with 107 yards. But when you run the ball like that, you definitely don't have to pass it. And we'll see his name pop up here in just a moment as we head over to the area's top rushers. So leading the way, and I believe he led the way for 7 or 8 weeks straight. Bryce Pete, 154 carries, 1,791 yards rushing. That is good enough to be Geneva's all-time single-season record. He also scored 19 times for the Eagles. What a year for Bryce Peet. Isaiah Bowles over in Conneaut is going to come in second with 1,149 yards. He's got 12 touchdowns. Matt Webster over in Jefferson with 1,134 yards. He's got 15 touchdowns. Another Geneva Eagle makes the list, as I was just saying, Caden Proy, 1,070 yards, and he's going to score 23 rushing touchdowns for this Eagles team. And that is also good for a Geneva Eagles school record. So 2 guys in the backfield, both of them shattering every record that was in front of them. Chase Newsome ends the regular season with 1,060 yards, 14 touchdowns for Newsome. Again, Newsome, the first 1,000-yard rusher since 2004, Van Robinson, and 1991 before him in Matthew Peet. Case and Bailey will end the year with 954 yards for the Lakers, which is a great number considering how much they have passed the ball this year. Javen Pope will end the year with 730 yards, 8 touchdowns for the Edgewood Warriors. J. Anthony Williams, Jaws, will end the year with 670 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns. Geneva's Ricky DePetta will end the year with 571 yards and 6 touchdowns. And Geneva's Owen Davis with 536 yards, 7 touchdowns. As I said, you spend all that time worrying about Bryce Peet and Caden Proy. They've got 2 other guys with over 500 yards apiece. Talk about the offense. Now we move on to the receiving, and making his way to the top of the leaderboard for the first time since week 1. Josiah Pope for the Edgewood Warriors will end as Ashtabula's regular season king of receiving, as he'll go 44 receptions, 762 yards. He's got 9 touchdowns. Jace Folkman will fall just behind him with 739 yards, 11 touchdowns. Matt Wagner over at Lakeside, he's going to end the year with 708 yards and 7 touchdowns. Devin Sanchez over at Edgewood, 620 yards. He's got 8 touchdowns. Sean Croston over at Pymatuning Valley, 569 yards. He's got 11 touchdowns. Devin Salinas over at Jefferson, he's going to end the year with 513 yards, 7 touchdowns. Jorge Diaz over at Lakeside with 40 catches, 504 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns. Downtown Terry Brown will end the year with 28 catches, 473 yards, 6 touchdowns. And Jaws making another appearance on this list, 14 catches, 414 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Davion Gaines over at Lakeside will round out the list with 39 catches and 390 yards and 4 touchdowns. All right, now we will move over to the tackle leaders. And I'll say this week, as I say every single week, but I want to make sure because this is the last one that's going to count. A solo tackle counts for 1 point. A assist counts for half of a point. A tackle for loss counts for a point. A sack counts for a point. Nothing else counts for a point in this formula. So if our numbers are different than yours, that's what it is. Everybody has the same formula that is applied to them. So with that being said, let's bring up our tackle leaders. Leading the way is Pymatuning Valley's Sean Croston with 94.5 tackles. What a year for this PV Laker. Defensively, one of the best in the county. Ricky DePetta from Geneva right behind him with 80. Jefferson's Brody Dietrich will end the year with 79. Bryce Peet, when he's not scoring, he's making tackles. He's got 77 tackles. Chetty Arcaro for Conneaut, will end the year with 72 tackles. Mason Thor will end the year with 66 tackles. Big 6, not little. Tyree Anderson will end the year with 65.5 tackles. He will be ahead of Jacob Clemens over at Geneva with 58.5 tackles. And Christian Brott over at Edgewood will end the regular season with 56.5 tackles. Keep in mind there are 3 players tied with 52 tackles apiece, which are tied at the 10th spot here this week in Week 10. And from tackles to tackles for loss. And leading the way, and this is going to show you why Sean Croston's number is so incredibly high. 16 tackles for losses. He's going to lead the county. Right behind him, Chetty Arcaro. He's got 15 tackles for loss. Muscles Marinara, Carlo Fasano comes next on the list with 13 and a half. We got Mason Thor with 10 over at Edgewood. Jacob Clemens with 8 from Geneva, joined by his teammate Chase Cinco, except he's got ocho. He'll end the regular season with 8. Chris McKeechin over at Lakeside will end with 7, and Kaysen Bailey over in Pymatuning Valley will end with 7. We've got 5 Ashtabula County players tied with 6 tackles for loss. And our sack leader, from TFLs to the sack leader, and it's the sensational sophomore for St. John, Muscles Marinara, Carlo Fasano. 10 sacks on the year. Talk about a sophomore campaign, as he will end the regular season as the county leader in sacks. Right behind him, it's Mason Thor with 5. He's going to be tied with Grand Valley's Jeremiah Coral. Right behind Jeremiah Coral from Grand Valley will be another Grand Valley Mustang, Luca Raymore, with 4. Jacob Clemens over at Geneva with 4. And right behind Clemens will be Sean Croston with 3.5 sacks. 5 Ashtabula County players right now with 3 sacks on the year. What a great year defensively we have had. And now we move on to the guys who are taking the ball away, creating extra possessions. It's the interception leaders. So leading the county, and he will end the year as the regular season leader, and that's Jaws, J. Anthony Williams, with 6 interceptions on the year. Right behind him is going to be St. John's Anthony Severino, who collects his 5th in their win over Cardinal. And right behind him, the Slim Reaper from Edgewood, Riley Baldwin, 5, as he collects his 5th in the Battle of the Bridge. We've got Gustafer Columbus, otherwise known as Gus Petros, with 4, and he will be tied with Pymatuning Valley's Jace Folkman, Caden Proy from Geneva, and behind them is going to be Carter Beck, another St. John freshman. He collects his 3rd interception. Interesting about Beck is 3 of these interceptions, 2 of them are being taken back for pick 6s. Jorge Diaz with 3 interceptions on the year, and he will be tied with Ricky DePetta over in Geneva. What a year it has been defensively here in the county. I'm very, very excited. We've got a lot of teams who are going to be able to kind of change the narrative and set their own story this week, but they got to get the work done. It's Monday, and I'm sure all these kids are going to be practicing as hard as they possibly can. And I'm excited. It's going to be right here on YSN. Win, lose, or draw. We'll be talking about you. I can't wait to see where we end up after next week and hopefully get a couple teams in Week 12 play. But if you're wondering the scores, make sure you head over to ysnlive.com/scores. That's where you're going to be able to find it. As we head out, this will be the final show of the season live on location here at the Crow's Nest. I can't tell you guys how thankful I am for you all tuning in each and every week. I love the comments. I love the shares. I love the likes. That's the reason why I do it. It's not for the shares, the comments, the likes. It's because I want these kids to be seen. I believe Ashtabula County has some of the most extraordinary kids anywhere on earth. And anything I can do to pump these kids up and make and show their accomplishments, I will work my fingers to the bone to do it. While I'm working behind the scenes, it's people like the Detour family here at the Crow's Nest who make that possible by hosting us each and every week. If you're ever hungry and you want to get something to eat, you're not going to find a better meal than right here at the Crow's Nest. The staff is amazing. The environment is great. Everything is fantastic. When you're in Ashtabula, just follow 11. If you hit the lake, you've gone too far. It's going to be right before there. Head to the Crow's Nest. They do a wonderful, wonderful job. I also want to send a huge, huge thank you for the sponsorship to Dan Sposito, the Sposito family, and Sposito Insurance. It's because of people like you that we get a chance to do this for the kids here in Ashtabula. Your generosity is what makes this a reality. And finally, not to overlook anybody else, my man Nick, Nick Detour over at Ronix. Every week, putting together these awesome hoodies that these kids get to wear. It's generosity, it's the people who love the youth, and it's the people who want to support it, and that's who I try to surround myself with. I'm incredibly honored to be the one who gets a chance to talk about these kids. I love all of the hype videos. I love all of the sound clips, all of these things. There have been people throughout the year who have just done phenomenal things with clips and pictures, whether you're talking about, a student over in Edgewood and Blake Vay, you're talking about Dante Jackson with Hall of Fame visuals, you're talking about Life Speaks Photography, Kelly Summers over in Pymatuning Valley, amongst so many more, Jocelyn Nicholas. There's so many people who are doing great things, and I'm very, very happy to collaborate with you. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for helping me help these kids out. It's been a wonderful season, and we're not done yet. We got another week left here in football, and hopefully some more after that. But that will be in a different time and a different place. The next time I see you, it'll probably be award time, where we'll be giving out the Jared Bunch Player of the Year Award, the Sean Allgood Defensive Player of the Year Award, and the Matthew Hatchett Offensive Player of the Year Award. My name is Sam Torres, and today and for always, this is for the 440.
This for the football. This for the football. For the city in the back road, got a whole county full of them ghosts. All from the football. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Pymatuning Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating no dragons who run the whole city. You wildin', and they really bout it. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them. Yeah, and Connie I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football.